Okay.
Will you please stand for the invocation and the pledge of allegiance? Invocation will be by Reverend Singletary.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we come to you to do the business of our town, and we pray that you would bless our town. Pray, Lord, we thank you. We haven't been hit by a hurricane this year.
Thank you, Jesus.
And yeah, absolutely. And we pray, Lord, you continue to bless our town and keep it from human evil and natural disaster. Lord, we pray for our elected officials and the employees of the town of White Springs. You'd help them to do their jobs successfully with diligence. And Lord, we pray for the citizens, that we would all work toward the common good of White Springs. Father, we thank you for this meeting and pray that everything will be done decently and in order with respect. And Father, we just ask your wisdom as we work together to make our town better. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Be seated. Roll call. Councilwoman Cheryl McCall. Councilman Robert Gansby.
Present.
Vice Mayor Nicole Williams. Present. And Mayor Tony Brown is here. The next thing on the item is an additional, a deletion or amend on the agenda.
I would like to add a item to discuss a question that I received from the audit selection RFP.
Okay. Yes, yes, sir.
I have them back in there for all business to consider the fees, and can you do that as part of it, because you'll be doing
Well,
that?
this is, so I received 2 questions from the RFP from.
Okay.
So we got the answer to one because it was just what the fees were for the last
Right.
couple of years, but I need to address the other question with council. So this would be totally separate.
Has to be new business.
We can put under new business, it'll take 2 minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
That'd be big.
Yes, the only thing we have on new business is the response to all of the follow call.
Yep.
Definitely.
I mean, and
We
what
can
was
do it in the comment from Councilman Montgomery.
RFP question for auditor selection.
okay. Madam Mayor,
Sure.
Okay, hold on. If,
All right, wait for questions, please.
okay, anybody else?
Madam Mayor, I move that we add accepting the agenda with the addition of item B, the RFP questions for the auditor selection committee.
Okay, it has been motion and second that we accept the addition of RFP question to the agenda. Ready for the question?
None.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passed 4-0. Okay, the approval of the minutes of September the 18th in 2025. And that includes the budget as well.
I have a question about the minutes and the item under White Springs Rhythm and Feast Festival.
That'll come under question right now, so you know, motion.
Okay.
Yes, in a motion.
I move that we accept the minutes from the budget meeting and regular council meeting from Thursday, September 18th, 2025.
I second the motion.
Okay, it has been motion and second that we accept the minutes of September 18th of 2025 and the budget. Are you ready for the question?
under the, 'cause I had to back out, my back was killing me at that meeting. And I had some questions about, things to protect the town. Pass those down. It should be one for everybody.
New agenda item?
For right now, we're just doing the minutes.
Yeah, we
So it
don't
doesn't
have
have
minutes.
anything to do with approving?
No.
No.
It's just
Okay.
approving the
Okay,
minutes.
we all still pass those down.
No, we just approving the minutes
All
right
right,
now.
pass it down.
We're not doing no questions
Yeah,
or
that's
nothing
right.
like that.
And the little,
All right, we'll do it under comments.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
That's what that's for.
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
oh no, I was saying aye with all in favor.
Yeah, I got you. I got you. Any opposed? Okay, motion carried, ayes have it, 4-0. Okay, the next item agenda,
Close it.
oh,
Council meeting motion over here.
okay. Oh, yes. May I get a motion that we close our council meeting and open up for a public hearing?
Madam Mayor, I move that we close this session of the council meeting and open the floor for the hearing.
I second the motion.
Okay, it has been motion and second that we'll close out for the, council meeting and open up for a public hearing. Ready for the question?
None.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carried, 4-0. Now, public hearing is now open.
Good evening, council.
Good evening.
My name is Kellen Lindsay with CPH Consulting, formerly Midtower and Associates. We've been the town's engineers since, going on 15-plus years, since 2010. This evening, we're here to present the findings and summary and recommendations of our water supply facility, water system facilities plan. This planning phase was funded through the FDEP's State Revolving Fund program. We got the funding late, we applied for funding back in 2023, and we finally got the agreement late 2024 after going back and forth with the financials and as we were working on getting the audit situated. So this is fully funded by the FDEP's SRF program. We also have $300,000 in grant funding from Florida Commerce's Rural Infrastructure Fund. That is going towards the design phase, which will come next, and we'll present that here shortly. That one was funded in 2023, and we got the agreement for that in early 2024. And they've been waiting for us to start spending money and drawing that funding down. But we have to finish the planning phase first. So we have done that. We are finalizing the facilities plan, and what we are doing this evening is presenting to you those recommendations. And this is for your system-wide water system improvements, upgrades, water main replacements, meter replacements, and then improvements at your water treatment facilities. I passed around a slide deck, for a PowerPoint slide deck to everyone on the council. So we'll go through with that. The presentation outline on page 2, you see there we got a nice picture of Ray standing next to the sign. But we'll go over the project needs, discuss the alternatives we evaluated, the proposed or selected alternatives, what those proposed system improvements will include, the economic costs and the economic impacts to the town, and then the anticipated project schedule moving forward is what we'll cover. And I failed to mention, this is Chance Logan with our firm as well. He's been helping me with this project and putting everything together, so. So page 3, project need. As you all are aware, the town's water distribution system has been in place since the 50s and 60s. And a large percentage of your water mains in the system are either undersized or are made of old or aged material, such as asbestos cement, galvanized steel, or non-line cast iron pipes. And like I mentioned, a lot of it is undersized, 4 inches or under, and this prevents the ability for the town to provide adequate fire flow in a lot of different areas. The town also uses older analog style water meters. They, other than a handful over the past couple of years, most are probably 10 plus years old at this point. And the issue with old meters is they don't overread, they underread. So the majority of your meters are underreading. You are seeing decreased revenues and unaccounted for water loss that grows and grows over time. AC pipe or asbestos cement pipe, it cracks easily, it can fail at any moment. I know when we did the sewer project a few years back, we had multiple instances where we barely touched that pipe and it cracks very quickly. Cast iron pipe, you've got a 10-inch cast iron pipe going through all along Spring Street or 41 in DOT right of way, and it's also very old. Unlined cast iron pipe can tuberculate and rust, so you lose capacity and you lose capacity and lose pressure as well. And then you have multiple dead ends throughout town that require flushing. You can see the rust or the kind of the orange tint in some of your water in some areas if you don't flush. I know Ray's been busy flushing water lines this past week. But that also leads to reduced pressures and lack of fire flow. And then as far as system impacts with your undersized mains, you are unable to achieve the minimum 500 gallons per minute fire flow needed to fight fires. With your mains, you've got low pressures, frequent breaks, frequent repairs that your O&M costs continue to increase. And then with your meters, you've got higher O&M costs. I believe you all are still manually reading the meters. That takes time and effort. And then you've got to bring that into your billing software manually. And then, like I said, as they underread over time, you see you're not capturing all of that revenue that you otherwise should be capturing. And all of these items added up over the past 3 years, you're seeing 40 to 50% annual water loss based on the amount of water that's going through your flow meter at the plant to what is actually being billed in the system. So you are seeing, say on average, 2 million gallons per day go through the water, go through the plant. Only just over 1 million is being registered and billed on a daily basis. So that is money that lost revenue for the town and wasted water, wasted energy cost and treating. And
I would imagine that, and I hope you had cameras go through a while, but I imagine we've got some leaks underground that probably never have surfaced.
absolutely, I mean, it's not just correct. I mean, Ray just before we walked in came and gave us this map of the water line that goes back through the forest behind north going to Jewett towards the apartments. That, you know, it's right along the creek bed. There's no telling if it's cracked. There's not really a great way to check unless you dig it up, and it's not very easy to go dig up through the forest. So yes, that's a great point. So in addition to your meters not registering everything properly, you're also more than likely having leaks throughout the system, and even small leaks that you might not necessarily see can add up over time into millions of gallons. That with the amount of old pipe you have in there, it's very likely this is occurring. So on the next page 4, your existing water system is just a rough kind of quantity breakdown of what your distribution system is comprised of. The asbestos cement's roughly 10% of your system, cast iron almost 20%, and then the galvanized steel or galvanized iron there almost 30% of your system. So between those three items, you've got about 60% of your system is comprised of materials that are no longer in use or no one would put in the ground these days. In addition, the undersized pipe, which would be the 3/4 inch to 4 inch diameter that cannot adequately provide fire flow, that's roughly 40% of your system. Now you don't need those, you don't need 6 inch and above everywhere, but if you want fire flow, you pretty much need it close to everywhere. So, and I think, like if you're looking over here, this is your proposed system that we're showing you, but everywhere from here on out, all the way over here, I think it's 2 inch and less. So the pressures are gonna be low and you're definitely not gonna get fire flow. I'm sure they have issues with pressures, even running the showers on some cases. And then along with the water mains themselves, you've got a mix of different water service materials. Some of it has been replaced in recent years with like HDPE or polypipe, but some of it's the older black polypiping, I think, that's susceptible to splitting, as well as some galvanized steel, which again can tuberculate or corrode over time. And then you've got about, give or take, 400 meters in your system. I think, other than say 10 to 30 of them, probably all 10 plus years old at this point, but likely a lot more. So the next page is just a depiction of what your breakdown of what your existing system is. It's a little hard to see there, but it just kind of shows you the scale of the 4-inch and under that you got throughout your system. There's certainly a need throughout. So then on the next page, we'll get into the alternatives we evaluated. So when we originally started talking about this project back in 2022, I think with Ray, we had talked about needing to do a system-wide meter replacements and upgrading your system from kind of the manual read system that you currently use to either an AMR, which is advanced meter reading, or an AMI, which is advanced metering infrastructure system. Both of these systems are obviously newer, accurate meters that work, but they also can provide varying levels of kind of automation and improved O&M costs moving forward. The meter reading, the AMR is kind of you have a radio read where you can do a drive-by and it will pick up the reads remotely, and it will cut down costs significantly. And it's going to be basically plug it into your computer and it will upload all the readings, so it saves dramatically on cost and time there. The next step above that is the AMI, which does it all remotely with the use of transmitters or cellular, and it will basically real time give you what that water use data is, bring it into town hall. So the AMR would certainly be a step up, but the AMI goes a step further and gives you accurate real time data for your water usage, but what it will also do is provide real-time data that can notify Ray or anyone with Public Works or with the utility department saying, so-and-so over on Jewett Street, they are using a lot of water. They don't normally use water right now. And you can go over, check, hey, is your toilet running? You have is a hose on, something like that. It will notify the town that you've got unusual water usage, so you can go proactively prevent these kind of issues from happening.
But that's the AMI, not the AMR?
Correct, AMI, yes. And the AMR, you can do it as often as you want, but as far as picking up readings, but realistically, you're not gonna do it but once a month. Typically like you would do, going and manually reading, but it was just cut costs, cut time, cut down the time from that point. But the AMI has a lot of different capabilities, like I said, that provides that feedback in real time. You can set up different notifications to let you know, hey, there's something weird's going on with your system or at a particular location. And it can also, depending on the system that you select, and there's a variety of vendors or brands that I'll discuss further with Ray as we get into the design phase. But some of them have the ability to identify leaks between meters within the pipeline itself using like sonar, kind of I have to brush up on the technology, but basically can tell you, hey, between this meter and this meter, there's water usage occurring where we know that there's not a meter in between there. Go check that out. You can maybe go find a leak. So there's a lot of different options and benefits, from an operation and maintenance standpoint that can really cut costs and also, proactively help you fix problems before they get bigger. So these were the three alternatives we reviewed for the water meters. One is no action, which would be no action at all. This obviously doesn't fix anything for you. The other two, AMI is more expensive, but it provides a lot more data. AMR would be kind of that middle tier that gets you caught up, but is not going to give you everything you need.
In what part of the program do we decide when we need to make a decision between these two?
So I'm gonna go through this, just kind of wrapped up the meter portion of it. I'm gonna tell you what our recommendations and alternatives were for the water distribution system, and then touch on the water plant work as well. And then I'll let you know, like, describe to you what our selected alternative is based on what we think is gonna benefit the town the most. And then we can certainly take feedback, but I think what we're recommending is kind of the minimum, most effective, cost-effective alternative for the town, so. And I apologize, if anyone has any questions, please interrupt, I'm happy to answer any and all questions. So on the next page, page 7, this is focused on your water distribution system. Again, 3 alternatives, and just as a sidebar, the SRF for the planning phase require you to review or analyze 3 separate alternatives, and one can be no action, so that use that no action alternative basically as a baseline, or in the off chance that there is a reason that, hey, the town does not have any money, is not able to move forward in any capacity, or, you know, your system's okay, and you don't really need action, then you can select that. But that really provides the town a baseline for comparing cost, life cycle cost, and so forth. So again, for the water distribution system, no action, again, no capital cost, but it fails to address your undersized mains, your aged material, all your water loss, and is not compliant anymore with DEP or industry standards at this time. The other 2 we analyzed were roughly the same in scope as far as pipe sizes, pipe locations, where we're extending and replacing, but we analyzed alternative 2, which is more of a trenchless installation using either pipe bursting or directional drill technologies. And then the other one is more of a conventional approach where you would open cut and like you would see people installing water mains. The benefit for the trenchless installation would be that you have less disruption with traffic and less excavation restoration costs, but the installation of those is more expensive on the whole. And you still will have some excavation where you're installing all your service lines, things like that.
One thing I'd like to just point out.
Please.
If we talk about that, with all the wireless systems that's underground, you really run into some boondoggles when you can't find all the wires that you're gonna go through and bust, and communication, telephone, emergency wires and everything else, so you really keep that in mind.
Sure.
With the number of, and you're gonna tell them how many miles of wires are underground.
That's for item 3?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, for both, I suppose. I mean, it's something you'd want to consider for both alternatives.
Keep that in mind.
And I know Ray was busy the past couple of years chasing AT&T and Windstream around and hit all his water mains, but, so he probably knows where all of them are now, but, yes, that is certainly something to consider, and that is one thing we will do as we move forward, hopefully in the larger design phase, is we will have some subsurface utility excavate or engineering or exploration to do some potholing to verify where there are some utilities, because we don't want to hit any expensive fiber lines or anything like that. But that is one thing to consider for the trenchless is a lot of these utilities don't like to give you the full picture or detailed information, so sometimes there is a benefit to doing your traditional open cut as well, because you can hand dig in some areas. So
which of these is better to
so
avoid the wires?
Either, but I honestly, the open cut's probably a better solution for dealing with that. Now, we'll do everything we can during the design phase to mitigate that, to avoid conflicts, to design around that, but you're inevitably gonna have some issue at some point. I mean, I can't think of a project we've ever done, utilities, where you didn't run into some water line or cable that you didn't know was there. But you do your best during design to identify those and mitigate them on the front end so that a contractor's not dealing with it out in the field. So, those are the 2 kind of installation methods that we review, but like I said, the scope of the rough water main replacements where we would replace or upsize them is roughly the same. We just compared the methods of installation. So, and ultimately, based on White Springs, with it being fairly rural, not having, if you're in a downtown urban area, say, there's more benefit to doing trenchless because you're not having as much traffic that you have to reroute. There's just a lot more involved that it can be beneficial. But with White Springs being fairly open, fairly rural, you have the ability to open gut and install it. It's going to be cheaper ultimately. And then on the next page, with page 8, this was looking at your water treatment facilities. We had gone out, I think early part of the year with Ray to the water treatment plant, kind of got a tour, refresher of everything that was out there. Ray's doing a fantastic job of keeping that plant running well. And so we talked about kind of things rehab or certain items that he needs or would like to have, and then others that are kind of not a have, but a want, or something that would be beneficial for the town in the future. So obviously, the first alternative is the no action. That doesn't address any of the town's current or future needs at the plant. Alternative 2 is addressing kind of the critical components that are, at the forefront or present. But this would really just kind of restore the system back to its expected capacity. That would include items like, bringing the elevated storage tank downtown back into service, rehab, just doing some general rehab on your ground storage tank and aerators, and then potentially converting your gas chlorine to liquid chlorine for safety reasons, and updating some of your controls and so forth. The other one was, in addition to addressing those critical components of rehab, would be providing some additional redundancy or expanded capabilities, and that included adding a third well. You currently have a well site further back on your plant where you can add a third well, and this would increase redundancy in your system, as well as adding some additional SCADA controls and instrumentation to allow for some more automation, more remote monitoring, things like that, to give Ray a break sometimes. So those were the 3 that we looked at for the water treatment plant facilities. And so then the next page kind of summarizes the three alternatives that we looked at and what our recommendations are. So our recommendation for, say, a phase 1, for phase 1 would be including the AMI system, which is the real-time data system, remote monitoring, as well as the conventional install of the water main replacements that are needed throughout town. And then for what we're saying is a phase 2 would be addressing the critical components at the water treatment plant, as well as adding those redundancy and future capacities. And that's something, again, I've slated that for a phase 2 that we could address as time goes on. If that redundancy or additional capacity is needed, that we could incorporate or fold that in. So the rationale there for the selection for the AMI meter system is that it provides the best billing abilities and leak detection. It will eliminate or significantly reduce your O&M costs related to meter reading, and you will immediately realize improved revenues and see decreased water loss in your system. From the water mains for the conventional installation, this, like I said, is going to be the easiest route and most economical route for replacing your undersized and older deteriorating pipes. And this was based on it, doing a life cycle analysis of your capital cost for the improvements. And then for the water treatment plant, like I said, it's going to help you increase your firm capacity at the plant if you add the well, and then having some upgrades, like I said, for SCADA controls and so forth that kind of bring you forward on technology and kind of catching you up to speed there. So on the next page is kind of a little bit of a summary of what those quantities include for the AMI meter system. It would include the AMI system itself, which is a combination of hardware and the software and integration with your building software, as well as the 400 AMI regular meters and receivers and transmitters that send those signals to town hall where you'd be collecting all that data. For the water distribution system, this would include approximately 38,000 linear feet of new 6-inch to 10-inch PVC water mains. There would be some areas where we would either have line ductile iron, or fusible PVC if we do need to directionally drill any particular locations. And then it would also include the removal or abandonment of the existing mains. Our goal at the end of this project is and it will all be mapped out, geolocated for Ray's use and Diamond Maps and, you know, the mapping system. But for Ray to know if they go out and they have an issue somewhere, we've got a 6-inch PVC water main right here along the edge of pavement. Not, maybe there's a 6-inch, maybe there's a 4-inch over here, maybe there's a, you know, galvanized steel pipe that we don't know about that's still somehow connected to the system. The goal is to, you know, once we put this new properly sized water main down the road, that's it. Your services are connected to it. And if you hit anything else, it's abandoned, or we pull it out of the ground and it'll be there. So trying to make the future O&M and future maintenance costs and concerns, kind of reduce those as much as possible. It will also include additional fire hydrants in areas where you can't currently provide fire protection, as well as replacing a handful of fire hydrants in your system that are either connected to a 4-inch water main, or Ray's had issues with the valves, or it's not operable, something like that. So, and then we'll, along with that, include new valves throughout the system to allow maintenance staff to isolate certain sections and not have to issue a boil water notice. If you've got to cut out a piece of pipe, you can shut it down to a small, you know, 1 block radius kind of thing. And over here, just to point out, this is our map of the figure. It's included in your packet, but this shows you the thick lines here, kind of shows you the extent of where we would be doing the replacements or upgrades, upsizing of the water mains. But kind of our goal was, you've got an existing 12-inch that comes from the water treatment plant that's relatively new, which is great. Great thing to build off of, which comes down here. But what our approach was to basically use a larger diameter, say 8 to 10 to 12-inch water main, and try to get a larger loop around your whole system to be able to provide that capacity, that pressure throughout, and then you kind of have 6-inch to fill in the, you know, the core downtown, and then have 6-inch branches off as you go out to the residential areas out here. But we have put this in our WaterCat modeling software to make sure that the pressures are adequate, make sure it's going to be sufficient. So we have worked with our software to make sure that this is going to be sufficient for the town's needs now and into the future. And then for the water treatment plant, which will be a future phase, this includes the rehab of the elevated storage tank, and I know we talked about trying to figure out some other solutions for that once we get some updated quotes, as well as the other items we talked about previously, which is some yard piping, hypochlorite feed facilities, rehab to your ground storage tank, new 12-inch well pump, and then upgraded electrical, new generator, and SCADA and controls there. So then the next page just shows you the map that we put up there for you. And then the next page is page 12, which is the one everyone wants to know, is what is it going to cost?
Yep.
So what the approach we are proposing is to try to tackle all the design in the phase 1, get that ready to go, and you got it moving forward. So the first step would be going after design phase funding before you go after construction, because the program that we're working with, which is DEP's State Revolving Fund, they require you to take 3 separate phases to get funding. The first step is the planning phase, which we are in now, and then the next phase would be the design phase, which we are hopefully moving towards here soon. SRF will provide 50% grant or principal forgiveness to municipalities that qualify. So the planning phase that we're in right now, the town received a grant loan package to fund the entirety of the planning phase. 40,000 of that was principal forgiveness or grant funding. The other was a $40,000 loan to be repaid, and I think we've got that money set aside in one of the town's accounts to be repaid once that planning phase is complete. Same for design. Design will provide up to 50% principal forgiveness or grant funding to the town of White Springs. And so that's where we're at now. So on the next page, I'll get into kind of what the construction funding would potentially look like. So for the design phase 1, the total estimated construction cost for the phase 1 is roughly $9.36 million. For the AMI meters and the meter system, just under 700,000. For the entirety of the water main replacements, it's just over 8 million. And then the technical services, non-construction, grant administration costs, things like that, subtotal is $660,000. The total design phase one cost is $849,000. And what I've talked with Mr. Garner about is, and we'll present the agreement following this hearing, is we have, as I mentioned previously, we have $300,000 in grant funding from Florida Commerce's Rural Infrastructure Fund, and that we haven't spent a dollar of that yet because we've been doing the planning phase and they gave us design funding very early. So now that we are to that point, it's time for the town to hopefully allow us to move forward, drawing down those design funds from Rural Infrastructure Fund. And they are very anxious to start seeing that money get drawn down because it has sat there in their account, not doing anything for the time being. So what we have proposed to do to kind of break this up for the town is present the Rural Infrastructure Fund design phase one as a standalone project so that we would have set of plans that we could use to do the water meter replacements separate from the rest of the water main replacements. And that would allow us to start moving forward on that immediately because we do have the funding in place. And with the expectation that we would provide biddable plans and specs, that would be the towns to move forward to find construction funding for. But we could also provide that to the funding agency, Rural Infrastructure Fund, as that deliverable that they are wanting to see. Because the AMI meters design is minimal compared to the overall project, what our thought was, and this was the thought all along with the RIF funding, was that the $300,000 was going to be put towards the design phase, but it was never going to get us 100% there. Like I said, the $849,000 is the design phase cost. So the intent all along was to use that $300,000 to put towards the design phase. So what we have proposed to do is do the AMI meter replacement project as a standalone project, but then use the rest of that funding, which is spelled out in the proposed agreement, to start working on topo survey of the entire town's scope of replacements. That is going to be probably with as many linear feet as we're proposing. I think 38,000, like I said. It will take some time and some real effort because it's surveying basically half the town. With breaking it out in this way will allow us to get started immediately and get going on that survey as we pursue the rest of the design funding through state revolving fund. So the breakdown there, where it says total design phase one cost $849,000, we've split that up into the $300,000 for the meter replacements and the majority of the surveying, and then the remainder, which would be the $549,000, would be the rest of the design phase one funding through SRF. And the intent would be, assuming that the town would like to move forward, is for us to submit that request for inclusion to DEP to qualify for that grant funding. So it's not a commitment to taking on that funding at this point. It would be us submitting it on behalf of the town in coordination with Mr. Garner to request that funding, and we would find out in February if the town is listed for that funding. So the intent is to get started, work on the water meter project now, get started on the topo surveying, and then be working towards getting the rest of the design funding at the start of 2026. And this is because SRF only has 2 hearings per year, February and August, so you only have 2 chances to get it submitted and qualify. So that's just kind of how the timeline plays out. So as far as the $549,000 that we would pursue for the SRF design phase, that $549,000 would be amortized over 10 years. Like I said, White Springs would qualify for 50% principal forgiveness. So your loan portion will be roughly $275,000. And you all qualify for an reduced interest rate of 1.95%. And your estimated annual debt service for that would be approximately $32,300. We have been working going through all of your most recent audits and your budgets and trying to decipher everything based on your revenues in recent years. They continue to creep up, especially with your rate increases that you got in place. Based on what we're seeing, it does appear you would be able to repay or your revenues would cover this debt service for the design phase. So I think when we submit that to SRF and they come back, assuming they have funding available, we would easily be able to show them, yes, based on our revenues, based on our future revenues, we would anticipate that debt service not being a problem for the town to handle. And then, as I mentioned, the meter replacements project would be a standalone project. Once we get to a future construction phase or going after construction funding, we would have the ability to bring that back in for construction dollars, or in the meantime, as we're working on the design of the overall project, we have the ability to go after construction funding for just the meter replacements project and potentially get that 100% grant funded through a different program. I've talked with the Rural Infrastructure Fund. They've expressed interest in wanting to see they ultimately want to see the construction phase of, their planning phase that we're in now. So they've expressed interest in potentially funding that. CDBG is another program that funds water meter replacements projects. And then SRF also funds standalone water meter replacements projects as well. So we have several options or alternatives to try to get that meter project done even before we get the water meter replacements done. And if the timeline plays out like that, then you would then have your meters in place, your meter system in place, where you're seeing reduced water loss, increased revenues, and kind of getting your budget, getting your revenues in a better position as you move forward with the larger project. So as we've been talking about over the past 2 or 3 weeks, I started thinking, wow, this is really great opportunity to knock out the meter project, to get this done for the Rural Infrastructure Fund, and then potentially get this funded separately and get that in place even before the meter or before the water main replacements start. So the next phase just is for construction. Assuming we move forward with the design phase, get that all completed, the estimated construction phase 1 cost for everything, this is including the meter replacements, is roughly $9.36 million. If the meter project was constructed separately, it would be, say, 8.5 and thereabouts. But the great opportunity that White Springs has right now is based on your demographics, and they've got this fancy calculator in Excel that you enter the city's, or the town's median household income, population, a few other things, and it spits out what grant percentage the town qualifies for. And White Springs, as of now, qualifies for 90% grant or principal forgiveness. So once we can get to that construction phase, White Springs qualifies for the highest grant or principal forgiveness amount you can qualify for. And the only direction that percentage is going to go is down. So the sooner you take advantage of that, obviously the better. SRF will allow up to 30 years of amortization on your debt, and you qualify for a reduced interest rate for the construction phase. I've got 1.25% on there. There's some other potential reductions you could qualify for as well, but that's kind of the conservative side. So the annual debt service on the future construction phase is at $47,500. And so as your revenues increase, your water loss decreases, your O&M costs decrease, we would expect for your debt utility revenues to be able to cover that debt service as well. And the one thing we will have the ability to do is once that design phase is complete, we have the ability to break this out into, say, sub-phases or a phase 1, phase 1A or phase 1B, if the construction costs end up being too much of a debt for the town to handle in one chunk. So we have that flexibility to kind of break out different areas, or take blocks from here over and do that as the first phase, and then extend west or extend east, vice versa, to be able to accomplish the entirety of the project. And like I said, you will continue to see increased revenues once those meters are in place, and then we will continue, as we are always doing for the town, is continuing to pursue additional funding sources or grant funding sources, whether it be CDBG, Rural Infrastructure Fund, Job Growth Grant Fund, appropriations, or others. And we'll continue to search, as we're working through design, continue to seek out potential funding to reduce the loan portion of your project. So that will be that's an ongoing effort that we're making on the town's behalf. So any questions on cost or overall cost at this point? Please.
And the design phase,
Yes.
you have the 300,000, you said it's sitting in an account waiting to be spent. Where is that account? And
Maybe I said that wrong. It's not sitting in the town's account. It is set aside with the state, with Florida Department of Commerce.
so
They
it's
have
sitting in that
$300,000.
account.
$300,000 is sitting in some account somewhere that is for the town of White Springs, that they are saying, when will you start spending this? So
Okay,
we've been
and
telling them for the past 6 months, we want to spend it, but we don't even have a design contract in place yet because we're working on the planning phase. And I told them, we don't want to present any sort of contract to the town until we know what we want to do, with the planning phase. So they understand that. We've talked to them about that. And we told them last week, the intent was to present our findings this evening and then to also present the scope of the RIF design phase that I mentioned earlier.
So the first thing we're gonna look at is this phase one.
Yes.
Okay, if we say, yay, go for it, what does that mean for the town when this phase one is done?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Okay, we say, yay, go for it.
Yes.
Start phase one, what does it mean when phase one is finished?
So phase one, I
What
kind
will
of,
people see?
sure. So phase one, nothing for some time, because other than we'll have a survey crew out all through town, surveying the town basically, so we know where things are, where we want to put the water main, where we don't want to put the water main, where there are existing utilities, where property lines
So
are.
this is finalizing maps and projects.
Correct, so the design will, at the end of the design phase, the deliverable will be, the only thing for people to see would be a big, thick set of design plans and specifications and contract documents. But that's the final deliverable that we would then use to get approval from the funding agency to say, great, your design is complete, you have permits in hand, you can move forward with the construction phase once you secure that funding. And then we would use those documents as the basis for construction. So we would use that when we go out to bid, contractors would look at them, make sure that, tally up all the quantities of 6-inch, 8-inch, 10-inch water main, like I said, 400 meters, meter boxes, things like
And
that.
that comes over the second page.
That would be a part of the construction, yes. And then we would get their bids, we would hope that they would be within budget, and then they would go build it. That would be when you'd see real, dirt being moved.
I think the answer she's looking for is 2 years from now, you probably see some construction. We'll go through it, we'll go through all.
Yes, I'm
You got the
sorry.
schedule.
That's on the next page there.
How soon we gonna see a new meter in the ground? It's not gonna be soon.
So I have some questions.
Please.
About the financing.
Yeah.
So you're the engineer slash project manager. Do you also provide any of the construction services?
Yes, we do. So we are we're the town's consulting engineer. We work with the town from kind of cradle to grave project for the, the entirety of a project. So, for this one, use this one as an example, we worked with Ray early on, trying to identify what the needs were, where you need to see improvements, what needs to be upgraded, kind of scoping that project out. And this is kind of the culmination of it. Tonight is presenting to you those findings of the planning phase, but then determining kind of what that funding path looks like for the town, and then doing the design, the survey, permitting of it, and then we will assist the town through bidding and construction as well. So then we would provide the construction administration during that point, which would include, monthly meetings, pay requests, change orders, doing the grant management, so monitoring like Davis-Bacon wage compliance, American Iron Steel Act compliance, and then kind of monitoring, reviewing shop drawings, working with the contractor on basically a daily basis. And we would have an inspector or on-site observer as well on site monitoring the construction on behalf of the town. So, and then all the way through project closeout, putting together closeout documents, getting the lien releases, grant closeouts, and then updating the as-built and record drawings, and hopefully incorporating that into Ray's diamond maps too.
What does the bid process look like?
The bidding,
Yes.
typically, it's as a disclaimer, it's a ways away at this point, but the bidding process will typically, we will have, once we're ready to go to bid, once we have construction funding in place, we would still run the ad because it's a requirement for the state, put the ad in the paper somewhere, publish it, but everything's kind of shifted to online, so now we will send them to online plans, they're called online plans rooms, basically give them the invitation or advertisement to bid, and it basically goes out online to all the contractors, potential bidders, so that they're made aware of the project, and then they would start looking at the project, determine if they're interested, and start putting together estimates, and they would ultimately submit a bid to town hall at a date that we determine for a bid opening date. What we do now, it's kind of a reason, we're probably behind the power curve on it, but we've now set up our website to basically allow contractors access to download those plans and specs. So they type in, cph.com, bidding, White Springs, water main replacements, and click it. And then they enter their information. They can download the plans and specifications, and then they can use those electronic documents to send them to all their vendors, start getting prices, going through, finding out if they have any concerns, kind of identifying where their, costs, where their costs are, but that's how we do it now, and then that compiles a list of all the people that have downloaded plans, and then we would have a bid opening. They present hard copy sealed bids to the town, and then we would be here to kind of administer that as well. We open them up and read them out loud and say, contractor A's got a price of $8,500,000, contractor B's $7,900,000, and so forth, and then you figure out who the low bidder is, and you go from there.
Okay, so the bid selection, is it based on multiple factors or is it based on price?
It is based on price, so that is typically by state statute, particularly when it's grant funded, and you do have some flexibility if the town's paying for it out of pocket, but you do open yourself up to some protests. So, it's kind of a double-edged sword sometimes, but with the grant programs, unless you have a really good reason to reject a bidder, if they're not qualified, or if they didn't submit a bid bond, say, something like that, then you typically will go with your low bidder. If there's a contractor that submits that is qualified, but, maybe we've had some personal experience with them in the past, or the town has, and you've got some documentation, you can maybe say, to the funding agency, yeah, there's, this contractor was low bidder, there's another one that was, a couple $1,000s more, but we know that they're very qualified, and we've got concerns with this one. That's a conversation you can have at that time, but otherwise, the default is that you would go with a low bidder, assuming that they're qualified. And we will, in the contract documents, provide minimum qualifications for that contractor.
Okay.
No, I'm just gonna say, a big thorough check on the contractors that through this process, because of the insurers and the prior
They've got to
experience,
have, they've got to meet their insurance requirements, they've got to, be licensed in the state of Florida, they can't have any debarment, disqualifications on their records. I mean, it's pretty straightforward on our end because we do it a lot, but, we're gonna make sure that contractor that we ultimately come, to the next council meeting after we've opened bids and say, we recommend awarding this gigantic project to the town of White, for the town of White Springs to this contractor, we're gonna make sure they're vetted because we don't, at the end of the day, we all want a great end product, and it's gonna be terrible for you all, for me, for Ray, for everyone involved if the contractor is not good. So, having a bad contractor is bad on everyone, so. Taking the low bidder, sometimes you end up with a contractor that's not maybe the best, but we do everything we can to kind of prevent that or provide qualifications on the front end so that we get all qualified bidders.
So I feel compelled to ask this question given the town's recent history. Have you signed a contract already for this whole project with the town, or is that?
So we have a contract that we presented to the town, I think I'm trying to think when it was now. Early 2024 for the planning phase. And that was, we presented that to the town for the planning phase portion of this work, once the town had procured and secured that $80,000 in planning phase funding. So as of now, that is the only thing we are under contract for specific to this project. We do have a continuing services contract for the town that allows us to serve the town in any capacity you all would like us to. But this evening, we are now kind of presenting the next phase for the Rural Infrastructure Fund design phase agreement that we will present. And then the expectation would be that we would submit for the rest of the design funding on the town's behalf and work with the town at risk until that funding is secured. And at that point, we would come to the town to present the overall design phase agreement. So yes, we are, to answer your question, we are under contract for the planning phase, but that is the only specific project we are under contract for this moment.
So Leslie, does that mean we have to go to RFP for the next phase?
Yep.
For the next phase of using them.
Of this project? If we're only under contract for phase one?
That's Charlie, right?
I'd defer to you, but no, we are, like I said, we have a continuing services contract with the towns that allows you to award without going out to for RFQs, projects as you also choose based on CCNA requirements. So, no, I don't believe that this would it would prevent the town from moving forward with us on the design phases at this time.
They're under contract, and I think it's fine, yeah.
Okay,
On this construction phase one,
Yes,
we're talking, when you said something about we're qualified for about 90% forgiveness.
yes.
Now, we're talking years out, are we still gonna be?
Hopefully.
Well, I mean, that's a double-edged sword too, you know, it's, like I said, it's based on demographics and household income.
State.
90% is really good, but if that percentage comes down, that means the well-being of the town has presumably improved, so,
Okay.
you know, I can't answer that question. It's kind of remains to be seen, but I will say, you know, to your point, city we served that qualified for, I think 70 or something, a decent principal forgiveness percentage. When we started working with them a few years ago, we were in the middle of a sewer project with them, but on the water side, they have different criteria for this funding program. And when we started kind of talking about a scope of similar project like this, replacement of water mains, they qualified for a notable percentage, but they started seeing some real growth. And by the time we said, all right, let's go after this, we ran the numbers the day before we were going over to meet with them, and sure enough, they didn't qualify for any principal forgiveness, only loans. So it was like, well, shoot, we can't, not gonna be able to knock out as much as we had hoped, but good for the city, you know? So, you know, there's pros and cons, but I would say in a 2-year span, based on where White Springs median household income is right now, you're still gonna be kind of in that realm. If it's not 90, it'll be close to 90.
And when you're talking about the AMI, that is going to be decided before the construction, so you know, costs and all that stuff.
Well, we've already done cost estimates for it, so we know roughly what that cost is. I think it's, if you go on the previous page.
So that's the recommendation, and that's what we.
Yes, the selected alternatives, the recommended alternatives, which is kind of how we've tailored the overall facilities plan report that we're finalizing in our office. And
That's what we get excited about.
yes, yes, but the AMI system, conventional replacement of the water mains, and then the upgrades at the plant were the 3 kind of selected alternatives. Then it's just a matter of how we face it through design and construction. So, but we have the report the facilities plan document, that will end up providing a full report to the town. But y'all have hard copies, electronic copies, or whatever. That will include a detailed breakdown of all the cost estimates for each alternative and for the selected ones.
So now you've made your presentation, what is your goal for this evening?
So, well, it's not over yet. We still have the project scheduled. So I'll run through that real quick with you, just so you kind of see what the step forward look like is. First step is completing the facilities plan, which we would expect to do hopefully by the end of this month, but we'll submit it to DEP no later than early next month. Then they have a review period, and then to get in that February hearing, the funding hearing for the design, we would submit in coordination with the town the request for inclusion for that $549,000 design, the overall design phase funding. And then hopefully, assuming we'll present the RIF portion here shortly, but assuming the town is wanting to move forward on that, we will by next month start the topo surveying on that and start working on developing the plans, working with Ray to figure out which brands or which meters, which meter kind of what kind of setup you want for the AMI system. That'll begin, by the end of this year. The hearing for the design phase funding would occur in February 2026, assuming there's funding, and White Springs is listed, and you certainly would qualify. It would take 2-3 months to get those loan applications, loan agreements fully kind of submitted and then executed before you can move forward with that design phase. And once that is done, I put on there conservatively May 2026, because they will inevitably have questions, is we would then present the larger design phase agreement to the town at that point, which would be probably May, June timeframe, and we get started on it. But because the expectation is that we will begin the topographic surveying in short order. We can hit the ground running as soon as we have the rest of the design phase funding in place, and we won't have that 2-3 month lead time of waiting for topo survey data to come back. We would presumably have all of it in hand and ready to start putting pen to paper at that point. We're predicting there, say, June to December would be kind of the time frame to get the full, start to finish of, starting, taking the survey and then putting the plans together all the way through permitting. Is saying by the end of 2026, we have the design finalized and submitted to DEP for approval. And then if you flip to the next page 15 there, we would then submit for construction funding, aiming for that February 2027 hearing with SRF. So again, kind of same timeline there is if you get selected in February 27, then by May we'd hopefully have the loan agreement in place, and then at that point we would coordinate with the town to go out for bids. And then we work with contractors between now and then to kind of figure out what that overall construction timeframe is going to be. I think we put in there 13-14 months in that schedule, but that's something we'll talk to contractors that we're familiar with along the way just to get a feel for, is that realistic or do we need less time, more time, and so forth. So that is the rough schedule, and that concludes my presentation. So I appreciate y'all's time. Hope I didn't bore you too much, and happy to answer any questions
Any
you all
more
may have.
questions from the council?
I have a couple of questions.
Please.
So this project will remove all of the asbestos pipes that we have out there still?
That is TBD. The goal would be to remove as much of it as we can. Some of it just won't be practical to remove. If we are hitting it or we're near it, we will certainly remove it and call for it to be removed. Are you asking in regards to concern about asbestos or just curious?
I'm asking because we have asbestos pipes and I know that there's citizens concerned about its existence.
Understandable.
I was curious as to how, one, we know where it is, and two, how much of it's going to be gone.
Well, we have got it's scattered, but I think we've done a pretty good job over the past 15 years of collecting a bunch of different records, old drawings from Ray. And so we've got a pretty good idea of where a lot of it is. Others we've hit or seen or been dug up or been fixed or repaired. So there's a pretty good idea of where it is, but we'll find out more as we do the survey. And like I said, we'll more than likely have some subsurface utility locates as well to verify, kind of key intersections or making sure certain things are where we think they are. So we will do our best during the design phase to accurately identify all of it as best we can. Will it all be removed? Probably not, but we will do our best to where we can to remove it. But asbestos cement pipe in the ground, not cracked or anything, is of no harm to people. It's the issue is once it starts cracking or it's breaking and it breaks up into kind of dust fragments, that's when it's carcinogenous, I guess. So it being in the ground is not necessarily harmful, although in a perfect world, you'd much rather see it removed than get out of the ground and not have to worry about it being there. So, I don't know if that answers your question, but that's.
So you're not going on a hunt, if you find it, it's.
If it's close to where we're putting in new pipes, I will certainly be calling for it to be removed unless it's like in DOT right of way where they're gonna say, absolutely not, you can't dig up our right of way, which is common, so.
Any other questions?
I have 2 more questions.
Okay.
So in 2019, the Florida Rural Water Association did a drinking water assessment management and physical sustainability plan. And
Yep.
in that plan, they listed the rate at which we are losing water at 19.5%.
Okay.
They said it's 40 to 50%. So have we seen a 100% increase in our losses, or is this estimating differences?
I've had that report, I've looked at it, I haven't looked at it the past week or two, so I can't tell you exactly where they got their data from. I would presume they had some data that was based in reality, and I'm sure that was, they had numbers to support that. The 40 to 50% that I'm referring to is strictly based on the flow meter data that you present or submit to DEP on a monthly basis in your monthly operating reports. And then we're comparing that daily flow data to the billing data that we've received from the town, which is, Chance sent a lot of emails back and forth getting every monthly billing data from, your residential customers, commercial customers, and so forth. So comparing what was seen at the flow meter that's being submitted to DEP and what is actually being billed for. So that's not necessarily saying that you're losing all of that, but it's not necessarily being accounted for.
All right, my last question might actually be more of a Ray question, but you might know the answer. One of their findings or recommendations was that we get an asset management planning and a computerized maintenance management system. Do we ever end up doing that?
So what is that now for?
Do we end up getting an asset management planning system and a computerized maintenance management system?
No, we don't.
No.
No, we didn't?
Florida Rural Water prepared that report. They do a great job of helping communities like White Springs on these kind of planning things, these kind of planning tools. They've got that plan in place. They've helped Ray develop the diamond maps, which you could call a computerized system. But, with limited resources, it's hard to do. A lot of the recommendations they will put in there sometimes are not always practical, just based on your resources. But it's a step in the right direction. It gives you good recommendations, but sometimes they'll kind of throw that out there as something you should work towards, but it doesn't always get implemented. So.
Town manager, you have anything?
No, what I'd like to say is get back to your asbestos. I'm sure when they were getting in there and they get a place where they located 400 feet of asbestos pipe, they've got camera systems now that they can run in there and take a look and see if it's cracked and everything, and that will be one thing to determine if they need to add 400 more feet to the construction or if it's okay, Because normally if it's on the ground, it hasn't been disturbed, it's still okay, but.
Right.
Just,
The only issue we've had with asbestos piping is on River Street. There's like, what,
And on Bridge.
1,200
And on
feet?
Bridge.
1,200 feet over there, I
We
think.
fit it on Bridge too. Yeah, River Street has some. And just as an example, this is, if you go to page 4, I just thought of that. This is not, if you look on page 4 of that presentation, the bottom picture, that was actually from during the sewer project. This is not asbestos cement, but that's an old cast iron pipe. That's what, you can kind of get an idea of what the inside of that water main looks like, that old pipe. It's, not a lot's getting through there, so.
So, is that all the questions from the council?
Those are my questions.
Okay. Anybody in the audience would like to ask questions?
Yes, please.
Yes, ma'am.
So basically you're saying that if you decide that the asbestos pipe is intact that will remain in service?
No, our intent is to take all the old AC pipe out of service, abandon it, whether we remove it or abandon it or grout fill it. That will be something we'll figure out a little bit more during the design phase, once we determine the exact location of it and where the new pipe is gonna be. But effectively, yes, if it's in place, it's not being cracked and being kind of turned into dust, it's not necessarily harmful to either walking by it or walking, above it. But the intent would be, wherever we can remove it, we certainly will, but if it's not practical, or like I said, if it's in DOT right away where they're gonna say, absolutely not, don't tear up our road, then, we've gotta do what they tell us to do, so.
But none of it will be used.
What's that?
None of it will be kept.
No, the intent would be to take it all out of service, yes, because, like we've seen before, once put a bucket up close to it, it's gonna crack, What's that?
Right, that's good.
Yeah, ours will be taken out of service.
Sorry.
Anybody else in the audience have any more questions? Okay, thank you for your
Well,
presentation.
you want to,
Yes.
Okay, now it's time for us to,
yeah,
approve the, public hearing
resolution
resolution.
and the task order, if it's.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, attorney, but the problem,
Gotcha.
Oh, yeah, the resolution.
I was gonna say, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, they would need to close the hearing and then open the meeting.
Yes. Because this is just a public hearing.
So we just, okay,
So you would put those two items there on the agenda, I guess.
okay, I got you. All right. Can I get a motion that we close the public hearing?
Madam Mayor, I move that we close the public hearing and return to our regular meeting.
A second.
Okay, it has been motion and second that we close the public hearing and move into our regular council meeting. Ready for the question?
Question?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carried 4-0. We return into our council meeting. Okay, next one on
The next thing is part of this finalization of the public hearing. We have a resolution to, do you want to read the?
What number is this?
Resolution 2025-15.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Resolution 2025-15, a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of White Springs, Florida, relating to the Florida Department of Environmental Protection, FDEP, State Revolving Fund, SRF, adoption of the Drinking Water Facilities Plan for the implementation of the water system improvements effective this date.
Okay, we have heard the reading of the resolution 2025-15. Are there any, comments? Anybody?
Madam Mayor, I move that we approve resolution 2025-15.
I second the motion.
Okay, it has been motion and second that we approve resolution 2025-15. Any discussion?
None.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The resolution passed 4-0.
Okay. Now, how about the task order that was?
Yes.
That needs to be done to that, yeah.
Correct,
yes.
yes. So the resolution, with the resolution passed, we'll get this signed or fully approved. We'll incorporate that into the facilities plan.
Right.
And as like I mentioned earlier, we'll finalize that report and get that submitted along with the resolution to SRF.
But
And then
do you need this?
Yes, so the second item would be the task order design, RIF, Rural Infrastructure Fund design phase contract that I mentioned. This is for the standalone water meter replacements. design phase, which also includes the topographic surveying for the majority of your water system. So this is the task order.
It was included in the resolution,
Okay.
so we'll sign it. Well, we can use those for.
Task order?
Task order, can we use those as originals and sign them? Well, I get some more.
The mayor is authorized to carry out.
Yeah, but
Anything that
she
is
needs to
desired.
sign that. We need to get her to sign
It looks like it's probably the original.
the resolution.
Yeah.
But this is the task order for the
Right.
rural infrastructure portion, for the 300,000 of grant funding that.
Okay. I'm glad this project
Lisa's,
started on trying to
Sure.
move forward. We've been trying to.
Would that need to be approved?
Get the
by council?
water meters done for a long
Would that
time.
need to, should that be approved
Which one, the task
for the
order?
task order?
okay,
It's covered in the resolution.
she's covered the resolution.
Okay, just want to make sure we're.
Yeah, it's covered.
Yeah.
That's correct, Leslie?
Yes, she's authorized to sign what's needed for the town, to carry out the plan.
What's that?
You're welcome to stay, but I'm sure you've probably got a long way to go, but if you'll,
Once we get,
you'll make the.
y'all are good with what we propose, we'll
Want a copy of it?
get out of here and get started. Y'all-
I got, she's gonna make
You
a
don't want to
copy.
just watch the resolution.
I take it up enough of y'all's time.
Chances, smile, it's like.
Also, to that, tank
Okay.
from 2019,
Oh, okay.
they're gonna go by that.
Okay, you want to keep one?
If you want to get them.
All
He
right.
said if they need to come back and do another inspection, they will, but they can pretty much go by this, what it costs me.
Yeah, I think I already downloaded that, but I'll take it. Yeah, unless you only got one copy.
Yeah, no, I've got it.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
We'll go with you later this week.
Should we bring you a copy, signed copy?
Okay. Well,
Can you tell me Lindsay and
will do. I appreciate it.
Tell them we said.
Thank you,
I
Matt.
will.
Lindsay?
She was excited. I got to see y'all tonight, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I bet.
Did you, see the pictures from the league?
I haven't, no. Are they online?
You're looking for, look up for our webpage, Florida League of Cities webpage.
Okay,
You're probably there with that funny hat on.
probably. All right, is there anything else?
Now, you're gonna bring me a copy of the signed one, and then, thank you very much.
Thank y'all. We'll
Thank you all very
keep
much.
this moving along. Thank y'all.
You passed my message.
We'll expect to reach a meter
You
next
pass my
month,
message along.
I will, I promise you.
and we'll expect to reach a meter next month, a new one.
What's that?
We can read you meters.
Next month?
Yeah.
No promises there.
Yeah,
It's been a long time.
the only municipality in the Tri-County area that's got meters, meters.
Reading? At least in Hamilton County. I don't know about the whole Tri-County area.
Lake City, Live
Yeah,
Oak,
they all got.
Live Oak's got them.
Jennings.
Jennings has them. Jasper has them.
Y'all, come on, Jennings.
We're about 15 years behind.
I
Well,
know.
Ray, you the one to take it.
Well, you know, we've been trying to get this project going on ever since, where Stacy Tebow, was our town manager, and we could never get it up off the ground.
Back we know where
So
it goes.
now,
Sure.
hopefully,
I was here when Stacy T was
yeah,
here.
hopefully we could follow through with this project.
We're excited. It's been a long time coming, so we're glad to see it's
Yes.
making some headway.
Is that an extra packet?
And we are glad to see
Is that
y'all
an
back in
extra
town.
packet? Council packet,
Yeah.
Glad to be here.
right there?
Thank you.
Yeah, we see that.
That's on Mr. Garner, so tell him thank you for that.
Kudos, Mr. Goode. Thank you.
Be safe on the road.
Sure will, thank you.
Did you get the copies?
I don't think she.
Kelly, did you get your copy yet?
Should go meter in there.
Okay.
She have not.
Okay.
Okay, the next, item on the agenda, finance, report from Mr. Tyler, CPA.
No, I just did CPA.
Gotcha.
Just so now we have CPA.
It's me. Okay, I handed out a financial report. Does everyone have it? Great, okay, so at this stage, finally, we're for the fiscal year. But as I remind you every time, this report is basically a cash basis report. The next step, now that the year is ended, we will go in and analyze and make some adjustments, basically getting your records ready to audit. And then so these numbers likely will change, but this is your basic report. And happy to say, mainly because of the calendar, that this report is for September and it's October, so that's a good thing. Okay, so on page 1, general fund, the revenue is $840,099. The budget, annual budget, is $811,828. So you're positive $28,271. In analyzing it, I've analyzed it. The main reason is that you received a grant that was also spent for the CDBG of $40,000. But still, the revenues tracked well to budget. If you go to page 3, here is not the good news. Your expenditures for the year were $1,213,065. So the budget was $787,000. So for the year, you were negative $372,966. Been reminding you of that of every month. Those are for many reasons, which everyone's aware of, but hopefully the majority of those are non-recurring. And it hit me when I was kind of reviewing it. We've talked about, the ARPA funds that you had and how did you spend it? Well, you spent it right there. ARPA funds were about $400,000. So you basically utilized those funds throughout the year on many non-recurring expenses. The next page, on page 4, is the enterprise fund. And so here, the revenue was $718,312. The budget was $649,000. And so you were positive here, the $69,000. One major reason is that because you were a year behind, you collected 2 years of the county grant in this year. So that's part of it. But also you had healthy revenue. And if you go to page 5, the expenses were $619,255, which were under budget. So in this fund, you were positive $99,058. And so again, this is cash basis. There'll be adjustments because things like depreciation and interest isn't recorded, but cash-wise, you were positive in that fund. So overall, when you add the two numbers together, you were negative about the $280,000. Are there any questions?
Can you unspend some of it?
So if anyone wants to ever say where'd the ARPA money go, it was used this, but it was good that you had it.
Right.
Because while, just had many things, you repaired 2 trucks, you fixed the streets, you bought a side-by-side, you had the office, you had, you had a lot of employee separation costs, you had excess, many expenses, so anyway, but that year's over.
So is Vanessa paid?
She's been paid and it's in here. Well, you don't want to do that again, or those reserves will be gone. But you still have adequate reserves.
You needed it, you needed it.
We need something positive.
So now we can move forward. Keep moving forward.
That's what you need to do. Okay?
Anybody else, any more council members have any questions?
I have a question on, I have some forms that are public documents that I'd like included in the monthly packets. So I've got that one for Mr. Powell, one for Leslie, one for,
Maybe
town
see.
manager. These are forms that in the future I'd like to see.
Can we see them also?
Oh, yeah. When you're done, pass them down. One for you, and one for Mr. Powell, so he knows what I'm requesting. Just so we have a,
Is this,
because when I get handed gazillions of numbers and dollars, it just goes, I need to be able to sit down and think about and digest what I'm doing.
may I ask a question?
Go ahead.
Yes, sir?
Is this in addition to the stuff we got to do that we talked about on the auditor reports and all that, there's all kinds of stuff been added to that?
According to what I've been told in the last couple of weeks, that information should just be able to be pulled off the, offline, and included in our packet. It's not any additional work, it's just another push a button and these things are reports, are they?
And as a result of what we've got to do, what the attorney's gonna talk about with our auditor report, we've got to upgrade and do some additions to our software, which will do a lot of this stuff.
So you're saying right now.
But it's not gonna happen.
Wait, let him finish.
It's not gonna happen, next month or a couple months, because we've got to get this new system in. Ms. Powell is working on this with Nikki and, Tom Shea, and we looked at the bank today, and we may be able to look at the, First Federal Bank, and they may be able to help us with some of this, so that it when it comes out of the machine, it's got most of what you want on here, we talked about. And, but these individual ones here, I need to look at these and see.
Well, that's why I made you a copy,
Okay,
and
okay.
Leslie a copy, and Mr. Powell a copy to see,
You did,
you know.
No, because it's,
oh,
And I just,
Give you a copy.
the first three items are very reasonable and can be supplied right off of QuickBooks. I personally have some reservations about making a detailed general ledger a monthly public record. I think that has
Is it
some,
already a monthly public record?
it can be requested as a public record,
Then I'm
but
requesting it as a public record, no?
but I have some security concerns before we just throw stuff out.
Yeah.
I just have some
we can
serious
discuss
ones.
this.
But anyway,
Did you get one?
I have one, but now that you have a town manager, I think it's very proper for him to kind of give me directions as to what that.
But I think in our town, because to me, this is overwhelming.
Well, what's on this list is super overwhelming.
Well, if I have it ahead of time, I can,
And again, that gets back to how soon can we produce a report? Can you do it now, or can you wait a month? It's just all of those issues come into that. And the main thing we're gonna do is always give the most accurate report that we can at the time. And we're making sure your cash bank accounts are reconciled, things balance. But anyway, I'll work with the town manager to come up with something
that's
that,
why I gave it to him.
but you can't do things quick and do things comprehensive.
You can't predict the future. So you have to work slow at sometimes.
So if it's a request for something to be done before the meeting, we all should have a copy of it. Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it.
Where you have one?
go on it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Brown.
Okay, great, thank you.
Drive safe. Okay, then the next thing on the agenda is on the department reports.
Okay,
Town manager first.
okay. Mine where it's at, it's not a whole bunch, but, and I apologize for the agenda, but we've had so many things going on, I tried to make it as simple as I could, but we'll try to get back next month to the regular agenda and format. And I'm gonna take a point of personal privilege here that, when you see all the work that has been done on this auditor finding, we all owe Leslie a great big applause for all the work that she's done on this. But she has done more than a fair share of work on this, and we need to be proud of what she's done for us. And I just hope that the Auditor General's office has the same thoughts of all the information they're getting. Comprehensive Plan Committee next Tuesday night at 6 o'clock to review the maps and the zoning and so forth. It's not, it's just more of a workshop than anything, but we're calling it a meeting, and that's 6 o'clock on the 21st. You see, we cleaned up around the community center, and Ray and I went there it hadn't been too long ago. There is a bunch of damage in that community center that will have to be fixed before it can ever be thought about using. And so I'm gonna go to State Historical Division of Department of State and see if they've got any planning or loan money or anything else that we can try to get a hold of to do some planning, because there's some major work that needs to be done on that before we can even let people think about renting it out. Now, if they could use the back part where the little patio thing is back in the back is already confined parking, but inside the building, not for the time being, it's gonna be a while. You go in there and there's no telling when the ceiling tile about 4 foot wide is going all on your head.
Is there any way we can make the, what's that thing in the back called, usable?
Amphitheater.
Is that something that we could?
Yeah, you can use that, but
I think that would be a good fundraiser area, yes.
Yeah, he just said that.
Okay. Like I said, we're trying to work on upgrading our system so that, computer system with being, our webpage needs to be ADA compliant. And also that we, listed a couple of things on our program that we need to have in order to comply. And then with all the stuff we've got to add on to be done with the officer's report, a whole lot of work and a whole lot of man hours going to be spent on that. Ray's gonna follow me here, but let me open up one so y'all won't throw rocks at him. Every 10 years, the wastewater treatment plant has to get a 10-year permit. Ours was done in 2016, April of 2016, and April of 2026 due again. And they ain't cheap. Last time Northwest Florida Water Management did it for us. Midtower here can also do it, but we're looking at somewhere in the $12,500 to $15,000 range of that permit. And we don't want to be late on it, so we already didn't realize it was due. Someone brought my attention one day last week. We got I think people from Northwest Florida Water Management District, they had And so they have made a proposal, and I'll let Ray talk about it in a minute. Just been busy. Got some other things, but we've been here a long time. We got another long while to go tonight. So Ray, I'll turn it over to you, and then Steve, if you just update us on where we at in the fire department. I can't tell you more about the county. We can't, I mean, we went to county commission meeting Tuesday, the mayor and I did, and they were waiting on Jennings to sign their agreement that they were to do with us. And I have not heard from what Jennings did or not, but the chairman of the county commission said they were really interested in trying to do something to get us some service here. Now, how long that's gonna be, or when it's gonna be, so the only thing I can tell you is continue doing what you're doing, and till we get something better from the county.
Okay, Ray.
Ray, you know.
Okay, so this is the permit right here, 10-year permit. It's good through March 22nd, or I'm sorry, it's good through April 16, 2026. You have 180 days to respond, which would be October the 14th is October the 16th. I need to respond to DEP and just let them know that we're working on it and who we have doing the permit. This permit, it has to be drawn up and stamped by a professional engineer. So this, we got 2 quotes. We remember the Florida Rural Water.
Okay.
So, and I put the cheapest one on top, per Robert. That's all.
I'm not sure any quote's gonna make me happy.
Since this is under the $25,000 limit, we'll have to go out for RFPs and these are 2 of the organizations that do this type of work. So
Yeah, $3,000 of that goes to DEP for a permit fee. And the $12,650 goes to Florida Rural Water for the permit. And 2023, DEP had a rule to where you had to have a collection system action plan and also a power outage contingency plan on file when they come out. So we don't have either one of those. Those also have to be, they have to be by engineer also, right? And staff.
So
So you want us to prove this?
Well, yeah, the
That
one,
quote for,
and the difference is, the reason the difference is so much lower with Florida Rural Water is because we're members with Florida Rural Water.
oh, okay. Sounds good to me. So $15,650?
yes,
15,000.
with $7,500 I'll pay up for it.
Okay. Council members? Y'all have any questions about this?
So this is different than the reports that the Florida Rural Water Association made for us in 2019.
Yeah, they made rates in this for 2019 and did some evaluations on it. But this is a 10-year, every system has to do this.
So 2019 was gravy?
Well,
Well, it was an asset evaluation.
I mean, they did some evaluations and stuff, but it was not anywhere near like this report here, the DEP report.
And there'll be some changes to the permit. I mean, like, it's my understanding that this time it won't be a 10-year permit, it'll only be a 5-year permit that they issue. And once everything's drawn up by Florida Rural Water Engineer, it'll be sent to DEP for them to look over, and then they'll make the changes they want to make. And, I mean, it could be like right now, instead of checking the plant 6 days a week, they can make it 7 days a week. Instead of checking 2 hours, it could be 5 hours a day.
But it's just a requirement that we're gonna have, I mean, this is one of the, there's a lot of money to be spent and we'll be as smooth as we can, but, this is something we can't do without, and still operate.
Is it in the budget somewhere?
Some of it is, but, we'll prorate it over the year. We have so much maintenance, but when we did the budget, I didn't even know about this, in 10 years,
Yeah, this is my first permit.
Oh, okay.
But one thing, we had an inspection with DEP back in February of this year, and we in compliance on everything.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah, 10 years, we'll sneak up on you.
and even if they do find something, you have 6 months, I think it is, to correct it.
So we need to make a motion?
They make motions.
Madam Mayor, I move that we accept the quote for $15,650 from the Florida Rural Water Association for the wastewater treatment plant, permit renewal.
I second the motion.
Okay, has been motion and second that we accept $15,650 for the, Florida Rural Water Association. Any discussion?
I have a comment, I don't know if it's gonna help here, but this is the sort of thing we really gotta start creating a calendar of, so it's not sneaking up on us like this. I know we need it done in 2 days, so we gotta vote on it, but we should know about this stuff 6 months ahead of time.
I think what happened was that they probably overlooked that it was time for us to renew this, and they got it to us as quick as possible.
And the other thing is too, I mean, I didn't know you got to have engineer staff and to, I thought that was something I could do.
And, that other public works guy, Kenny, he used to take care of this for us, so he's been gone for quite a time, so yeah, it's snuck
It's
up
just
on
something
us.
to stick up on there. I mean, I'm following that. You come across it, do it.
Yeah, it's 10 years, every 10 years, he was here the last time it had to be done.
Right. So nobody didn't know.
I'm not more positive to say there's not something else that laying out there somewhere that we haven't found. So we're trying to determine all this stuff.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carried 4-0. Fire department.
Evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Yeah, so I was really waiting for some information from Mr. Garner to see what the county was going to do. I know we've talked about EMS and we've talked about fire. EMS is still the thing that we started back in June of June the 6th, and we're still waiting. They keep saying we're waiting on Jennings. Why are we waiting on Jennings? What's the holdup? Why can't we be White Springs? Why can't, with the EMS part of it?
Well,
The fire, okay, I'm sorry.
the EMS part is, they're trying to do the same thing at the Jennings they're gonna do with us. And they're trying to make it together in a kind of a three-phase agreement, us and the county and Jennings.
Well, I don't understand why they don't work with us. Why don't they go with us first and then make the model for Jennings? This is the problem, because in the month of September, 12 calls were EMS calls. There were no fire calls.
Right, yeah.
I'm just saying, there was no fire calls in September. So the important thing is that EMS is what we need. Now, with the discussion of the county, want to take over the town saying, this, let's look into the county for the fire service. Well, 3 of the guys are gone now, so there's only 2 people over there. And they're taking about 20 hours a week. That's the combined part with them. So there really is, I think at this point, the fire department is in bad shape as far as that goes. The response is gonna have to come from, Jasper, the county, but the county, we provided the building, we provided everything for them. Why aren't they coming here and why is it taking this long? I don't know, but it's just continually, we're setting the model of Jennings is supposed to be for White Springs. I don't get it, but that's what it is. So I was hoping I could have more information than that, that maybe Mr. Gardner has some more information. It's kind of at the end of the year, September, like I say, discussion of going to county, the guys left, there was no raises for the firefighters. I don't feel it's right to hire firefighters right now because in 6 months or 3 months, the county might take over and these people that come here for part-time will be out of a job again. I mean, that's just it's a catch-22 all the way around. So, yes, ma'am.
So are you not willing to work with volunteers?
Yeah, I'm willing to work for volunteers, but the thing is, there's certification, and when
Well, no,
we're,
I understand that anyone who works with the fire department, whether they're paid or volunteer, have to be state certified.
yes, ma'am.
That was just a question.
Yeah.
Because previously I was told that you were not accepting volunteers.
No, I'm not accepting anybody right now until I'm directed to say, listen, let's post for volunteers, here's the qualifications that we need to have. And when we do that, we're still gonna have, it's gonna cost us money. You have to use ARPA fund to buy the fire gear for them. So we can do it.
But there are grants and things that are available also, correct?
Yeah, but it takes a while to get it, you know.
Exactly,
And
so.
it's like, you
No,
know,
I'm just saying, if they're there, we can still be proactive and at least start applying for them.
I know people talk about there's, firefighter grants. There's a grant out there that you can get firefighters for 5 years, but after 5 years, the city has to totally take care of them. They can't just say, okay, we're done in 5 years, okay, goodbye. So there are, people talk about the fire grant for personnel. So I'm not saying that I won't work with volunteers. I just gotta know when to put them, when we can get them and the funding for doing it. And that's something I need to know what we're gonna do.
The fire grant that they have, that you were saying that is out there that we make and apply for the 5 years funding for personnel. Will that funding have to be full-time personnel or can it be part-time personnel?
I think that's.
It's full-time, benefits, the whole amount.
Yards, and then you,
Yeah,
after, it used to be 3 years for police, and they moved to 5 years for fire.
correct.
But,
But you're
I
saying you're
hope,
looking for
I hope to
security.
be able, we can make a decision no later than the end of the month. One way or another, which way we're gonna go. They indicated that we'd hear something in a few days after that last Tuesday's council meeting. Now, here it is, I haven't heard anything this
Well,
week.
that'll be, if we do, that'll be great. So we'll know which way we're going forward. We talked about moving forward. That's what we gotta, we don't know what they're gonna do, how we do it.
I heard that, don't know if it's true or not, because I did not attend the meeting or whatever, the ones in the morning that I go to. But I was told that it was like one commissioner that did not want to follow through. They didn't offer to Jennings, but the issue to me is we're offering something that Jennings is not. We're offering insurance, we're offering a building, we're offering equipment, all of the stuff that we got is top of the line.
Why can't we be the base for it?
So we're offering all this and they don't have that to offer.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that would be a question that I would have, at
We submitted a
next
request to the county. A local agreement with the county, and it's wound up coming to this right now.
Okay.
So, I can't tell the county what to do, but I'll tell you, by the end of the month, if we didn't have it, and I know they're working on EMS first. But they realize EMS is more critical if you're on a more, full-time basis than fire, although we need fire too. But EMS is more critical than more call. Because I hear that, in there every
And the
day.
thing about it, we had the meeting, it's like, hey, you can come on Monday.
Yeah.
I know they're talking about legal issues, but, they can stage in White Springs during the day for 12 hours. They can drive down here and stage at the fire station. They don't have to be what do you call it, legally assigned to the station. They can park on the side of the street, but they can park there and use the facilities too. I don't understand it.
Understand,
So,
but.
okay.
We're working with it every time I go up there, I talk to the county commission, chairman of the county commission. So, you know, I talk to him and then the county coordinator and, hey, that's it.
Yeah, I was just gonna kind of follow up on that, 'cause I go to the Jennings meetings too, and I cover Jennings.
Okay.
And I know that they're gonna be meeting next month, the town council is, and they're gonna actually discuss some of that information that y'all are providing about the EMS and the fire. I think there's gonna be, they split the resolutions up, I think, over there. And I know that Sheena had some reservations about some of the wording, I guess, behind it, so that might be something between the two town attorneys that may want to discuss it. I do know they've been talking about it at the town council, and they did pass the resolution regarding the, I guess, the agreement between the county, but there's something there that wasn't really jiving with.
So this past Tuesday night, they did pass.
They tabled it.
Oh,
They tabled both resolutions at the last meeting, so, honestly, if, I would definitely recommend maybe having a representative from White Springs to be there at the next meeting in case they want to try to table it again, so. Yeah, it's a long drive, but I mean,
I think we all need to go, and I think some citizens need to go too.
They meet at 7 PM, first Tuesday of the month, so it's a late one, but, you know.
That's in Jennings?
Yeah. At the old school
Elementary
there.
school.
Yeah.
First what, Monday?
It'll be on first Tuesday of the
First
month,
Tuesday of the
7
month.
PM. So the next meeting will be,
The week prior to ours.
I'm sorry, say it again?
No, I was telling Cheryl, it's the week prior to
Yeah.
our meeting.
Yeah, so it'll be, November 4th, will be their next meeting at 7.
Okay, well, Steve, you know just about as we've been trying and the short time I've been harping on that and I mean, I keep twisting in one or the other, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
Another question, so are you willing to work with the county and get something together for us so we can have this protection? Because my complaint and my main issue is that every time that something is going on, I mean, I know that y'all have your rules you have to follow, but it's like no representation from White Springs Fire Department. And that bothers me. Even if there's nothing you can do personally to show up, speaks volumes.
Yes,
So he
ma'am.
doesn't have any authority, but you still want him to show.
And I've done that.
That goes for, yeah, I'm gonna put it like that, yeah. Even if he can't do anything personally, by him being the chief, the fire chief, if there is a fire in White Springs or an accident where a fire truck has to come out, yes, I would like for my chief of fire, my fire chief, to show up, at least to provide emotional support or whatever he may be able to do to help who's ever responded. That's not hard to ask, that's not so difficult.
Yes,
Just to be in presence.
please remember, he's employed for so many hours a week.
Right, I understand
He's
that.
part-time, and there's a whole lot of hours in 724.
Right, I understand that.
And they're part-time, and they may be there 2 days in a row and not a thing happens, and next day, 3 fires happen, I mean, but they.
Right, but at least for some of these things, this is the issue that the citizens have. This is the complaint. I understand that, and I understand he has his hours, they have their rules, but to just, at least every once in a while, show up to one of these situations when it occurs.
So do y'all get EMS calls or just fire calls?
Oh, it's the EMS, when there's EMS down here, they'll call. But like I say, there was.
But you can't answer,
But I mean, like,
you can't answer
mainly
EMS.
for
Well, yeah, we can, but they're, you know, you're taking 20 hours out of a week that people are here, 2 people, or myself. That's not they're not always gonna be in them 20 or 25 hours that you're
So are
there.
you certified to train?
No, ma'am, I'm not a certified instructor.
Is Henry?
Henry is,
Yeah,
Henry's fire, yeah.
but,
So-
hey,
I'm sorry, I don't have that
Well,
No good news, I'm waiting for something to,
We working towards it.
I
okay,
mean, we all gotta work together regardless.
yes, ma'am.
Do what's best, but that is the issue, not attacking you
Sure.
personally, but that is the issue that I have.
Okay. I understand.
We gonna get it together.
Yes, ma'am.
Slowly, but it's gonna come together. Anybody else
I'm
have
just
any
trying to find
questions?
like options or whatever.
Yeah, my thing is we need people, but it's kind of hard to get people when you don't know what's going to happen next month. Granted, we don't know what's going to happen in the future, but at least if the city says, you know what, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to take care of this for the next year, at least we got funding to take care of it, at least you can tell somebody, listen, we're going to be here till next October. We don't know, we'll be here in January. It's hard to have people change their system to come do up here.
And you're
It's-
looking out for your men.
Yes, ma'am, and the three that were left, that was part of the reason. They're like, listen, I gotta do something else for my family as well.
That's understandable.
Right.
okay.
All right, appreciate it, thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Next on the line is presentation. We don't have any
No presentations or citizens.
citizens from the floor. Any citizens from the floor would like to say anything at this time? Pertaining to the agenda.
Here, got one here.
How you doing? Council, I'm Hank Palumbo, owner of Swanee River Produce. I'm sure you're all aware, we had our meeting for the Special Events Committee. Some of you were here. And they recall, as I go through this conversation, so I wish Beverly was here today, and she's
She
not.
got sick or something.
Yeah.
Emergency somewhere.
Anyhow, I still gotta voice my concerns and
Right.
my opinion. I'm glad there is a few people here from town. I got with Beverly, through the meetings. She was agreed to purchase pumpkins and gourds from me for her pumpkin sale. I told her I was working on prices and I would get with her. I got with her on the prices. I said, bin of pumpkins is gonna be X amount of dollars. She said, okay, I want one. I'll get some gourds and some other stuff from you. Okay. Almost 2 weeks passed. All of a sudden there was an issue that she was backing out on the bin of pumpkins. I had already, when she told me that she was gonna order a bin of pumpkins from me, I went to my broker and ordered the bin of pumpkins. Now, almost 2 weeks later, she says, well, we're not gonna do the pumpkin sale 3 weekends in a row, we're just gonna do one, so I don't need that bin of pumpkins. I said, well, wait a minute. I says, now, if this guy holds me accountable for that bin of pumpkins, I'm gonna have to hold you accountable for the bin of pumpkins. Fair is fair. Well, thank goodness, out of the kindness of his heart, he didn't hold me accountable for that bin of pumpkins, which was good. I'm a small businessman, to have to cover another bin would be, hard for me to do. She said, well, if that's the case, I'll take the bin if he holds you accountable. I said, okay, let me see what I can do. That was fine. She says, okay. He was good with that. My whole dealings was she was going to not get a bin of pumpkins. She was just going to buy a couple dozen pumpkins from me and do the pumpkin sale on the 18th one day. She was all wishy-washy on, you tell me what I got to price them for. If I make money, fine. If not, whatever, as long as I'm doing something. About a week after that, I heard on the street, not by her, and she's a representative of White Springs, right?
Right.
Okay. So I heard on the street that she found out who my broker was and went underneath me and ordered a bin of pumpkins for her pumpkin sale, cutting me out all the way around. And I find that just a horrible that somebody would do that to me. And I didn't lose no money. I I'm more crushed by how she took care of the whole situation. And if somebody like that is gonna be a leader for our town, I don't find that as a leader. She threw me underneath the bus by going underneath me and calling my broker to get a better deal for pumpkins.
Did she, tell you why she was backing out?
She has not talked to me ever since
Did we?
like 3 weeks ago, when she told me, well, I'm just gonna buy a couple dozen pumpkins from you, and I'm just gonna do what I can do, and that's it.
Did we pay for a bin of pumpkins or just 40? Because I was told it was just, she was just getting 40.
That's roughly a bin of pumpkins.
Oh, that's a whole bin of pumpkins?
That depends on the size, on how many come in. But my whole concern is she done me wrong, being a representative of White Springs. We're supposed to be coming together as a community and bringing things together and doing away from how things were done in the past.
Correct.
Town attorney?
Yes, ma'am?
And I feel his pain, that, you know.
I mean, she made
get
me
mad
look
too.
bad. I mean, if she, let's give it an example that if she ordered 100 chicken wings from Fat Belly's Barbecue, and then 2 weeks later said, oh, I'm not gonna get the wings from you, and then all of a sudden, William finds out she went to Gators Dockside to get the wings and not through him, because what, she's getting a better deal, or whatever the reason, she didn't give me
What is
no,
the bill? What should be a price for a bill?
my cost was $180. And
How much did we pay?
As a leader in the community, what can we do about that?
Can I speak first?
Well, I'm asking, because I want to answer this question, you know.
So he mentioned that he didn't lose any money out of the deal. If that had been the case, then that would maybe be something we could do. But it sounds like what he's looking for is an acknowledgement that he was done wrong.
I was done really wrong.
And,
He's part of the special events committee also.
right, and that, you know, in the future, things like this won't happen. Is that
Oh,
correct?
let me explain
Or
this.
or maybe you could tell us.
I will explain this. From after I heard on the street that she went behind me and ordered a bin of pumpkins, I have such a horrible taste in my mouth for that woman that I will not help any way, shape, or form with the Special Events Committee. And let me tell you, from my talking to several people, many people in town, about how I was treated, they said, I warned you, I told you, you didn't listen to me. That's why I had many people tell me that's why they're not volunteering on the Special Events Committee, because of a certain individual. This just proves how can we move forward as a whole when somebody's doing you dirty like that.
Okay, Councilwoman McCollum?
I think this is he felt, she felt, rather than he said, she said. I know that, she felt like you had, and I don't know how the timeline went, but I think you and Bev need to sit down and talk, because I know she thought you backed out on her.
Oh, no, ma'am.
No, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm telling you what she felt.
Yep.
Okay, and that's where it started. She did not go behind your back to your supplier. She went to her friend. The person she got the pumpkins from is her friend. Now, that person may have been who you went to also. But I'm just saying there's a whole lot more to this than what's coming out right here.
Well, then why wasn't, she never communicated with me, and I found out on the street that she wasn't.
That's what she was feeling from you as well.
No, because she canceled out on me, ma'am. I had put in, I told her, I said, this is how much the bin of pumpkins are gonna be. She said, okay, at first she wanted to order 2 bins, and I'd explained to her that that's an awful lot of pumpkins to try and sell in a day. I said, one bin would be more than sufficient, and if you don't sell them, we can work something out so I can take them and move them through my produce stand so that the city's not taking a loss. And she says, well, I'm not gonna, I'm only doing it one day, I don't need a whole bin. My whole thing was she made me look bad to my broker, and then on top of it, she calls him to try and get a better price
Well,
than what I was
She went
given.
through what she considered was her friend. She grew up here too, or she's been here long enough to have friends. But all I'm saying is, I think there needs to be something that you two work, because I know she's feeling the same way you're feeling, is that she was done to where she couldn't make the right decisions, or it's, I can't answer it. I
No, no,
can't
no, I
answer it.
know, I was hoping she was gonna be here so she
You
could
have no
explain
right.
herself, because after she canceled everything on me, she just quit communication with me whatsoever. And then when I heard on the street, because our last conversation was she was gonna order a couple dozen pumpkins from me and a handful of gourds and stuff, and little mini pumpkins.
And I know she wouldn't mind doing that.
And going that way.
I don't know where the rift came in, because I was not privy to it, but I can tell you, the way you're feeling is exactly the way she was feeling.
No,
And I don't know
But
why.
wait, how could she, wait,
No,
how
you
could she
can't say
feel,
how
how could
she's
she feel the
feeling.
way I'm feeling?
Okay.
Let me look, okay, I got you to think, because we still got a lot of councilmen. I got your feeling, let me find out what's going on.
Yeah, I was just, I'm
Because
here.
I heard you and her talking about pumpkins.
Right,
I never hear a deal made, but I heard y'all
Yeah.
talking about pumpkins. But let me find out tomorrow what's going on.
I'm just bringing it to, basically to the attention of the community and the
I
council,
appreciate that.
that I was done wrong. And to
I'll-
find that out on the street, and for her, if she didn't like the deal I was giving her, why didn't she come to me and say, hey, look, I'm sorry, we're not gonna do this, I'm going in a different direction. For me to hear that on the street is
Please.
horrible.
Okay.
Please give me a chance to look into it
Yep.
tomorrow.
Yep.
And I get hold of her and talk
Yeah,
to her.
like I said, I wish she was here so that
I do too, I do too.
we could figure this out.
But she's not, and we've still got a lot of time.
I know, I know, I
And I
know.
appreciate you, but
Yeah,
I'll look into it and see what I can do.
yeah.
Mr. Hank, may I ask you, don't be so hasty to ditch the entire town from one incident. Because that's only one person on a board of about 12 of y'all, well, 12 of us. Maybe there's a resolution or something that has to be done, Mr. Gardner's gonna look into it, but don't just kick us to the curb like
Oh,
that.
no, I still love White Springs.
No, I'm just
I-
saying, you were saying with special events.
Oh, with
we have
special
so
events.
much stuff,
Oh, no, I know, but if she's gonna be the one in charge,
but she's not, there are two chairs.
mhm,
There are co-chairs, there's not one person in charge. You have Coretta Udell Ford and Beverly Brazil, they're a co-chair. Nobody is above the other. Coretta has not been to the meetings because they're always holding the meetings during the time she's at work.
right.
Which my suggestion was going to be from now on to start the meetings as we used to do them at 7 to give all working people time to get home from their respective jobs, because special events used to meet like 7 to 8, 7 to 8:30. And we have to do better with the timing and advertising to make people be able to prepare themselves to come.
Right. And,
So please be
I'm
patient
not-
with us and
well, no, see, I can move my energy instead of not helping out White Springs, I can move my energy over to Stephen Foster Park that needs volunteers also, and I'm on both groups, I'm part of the CSO. Well, I'm sorry, but once you do me wrong, some people say, oh, you got 3 chances. Yeah, in my book, you got 1 chance, and when you do me wrong, as bad as that,
Well, let me look into it. I'll get
I'm
back
done with you. I'm sorry, and that's just me personally. You know what I'm saying? Had I not heard that on the street,
Yeah.
and she would have come to me and said, hey, look, things aren't working out the way I thought it was, and we're gonna go a different route, I would have been totally fine with that. But when I heard what I heard on the street, that was a slap in the face and a kick in the ass.
Please,
Okay.
you've had more than your 5 minutes, so let's go to.
Okay,
We'll
meeting,
attend
and
to
I'll
it.
follow up and get with you.
okay.
Anybody else? Anybody else? Okay. I'm sorry about that, but I know how you feel.
Hi, Gretchen Fashcourt, 11888 Third Street. I actually have a question for Ray, and it's not anything bad, but when I was taking notes, you said that in order to get the new permit, we have to have two things, and you said we don't have either one of them. One was the power outage contingency plan. What was the other thing that we need to have?
Spill,
Sorry. Sorry.
Collection system action plan?
yeah,
And then my follow-up question is, we're in Florida and we've had like 3 hurricanes in 2 years, plus that tornado, straight line winds. How do we not have a power outage contingency plan?
Yeah.
well, we do have one,
We do have one, okay.
yeah.
Because you said, you
Yeah,
said we don't have either, and I'm like, okay, wait a
It's
minute, how
just
do we not have one of those?
Yeah, not for DEP. But we do have a power outage plan. We have emergency generators at our water, wastewater, all our lift stations. But it's got to be implemented on paper and certified by the engineer.
It's like 90% of the stuff she's gonna talk about.
Perfect, I just wanted to double check.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All right.
Adrian Saxby, 16560 Jewett Street. Good news, I just wanted to share that the Stephen Foster State Park will be hosting the quilt show all weekend. So please come out and look at the quilts. Also on Saturday from 10 to 2, they are asking for volunteers to come and help hang Christmas lights. So if you are interested, please come.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Okay. The next item on the agenda is the old business. Consider resolution number 2026-03, the fee schedule. Mr. Gaines.
So if you missed it, we had a 30-minute workshop where we went over, so I've done some research where I pulled together the fee schedules from a couple of the local areas into an Excel and compared them and came up with some suggestions for changing the fees, because our fee schedule that we have now for the town is for 2007. This is for the zoning. So we had a workshop, we talked through some of the changes that we were going to do. I incorporated those changes into this resolution. So we have resolution number 2026-03, resolution of the Town Council of the Town of White Springs, Florida, to establish a schedule of fees and charges for matters pertaining, the town's comprehensive plan and land development regulations, providing servability, repealing all resolutions in conflict, and providing an effective fee. So I move to adopt resolution number 2026-03.
I second. Go ahead.
I second.
Okay, here's the motion and second that we adopt resolution 2026-03. Any discussion?
None.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And just so you know, that is effective anything, any zoning request we get from this point forward.
Yes, anything that's been submitted recently that we don't know about will be on the old schedule.
We don't have any with this,
Okay.
we have nothing, so.
And where are these posted?
Huh?
Where are these posted, the new fees?
They will be posted on the website and out front and go up tomorrow.
Okay, motion carried. 4-0. Okay, now we're going into new business.
Yep. I got me. Yes, ma'am, you take, it's your show.
All right. Okay, so many of you may know that there was an audit follow-up done, and we received the report by, I think it was like a Teams on the 22nd, but the paper report came on the 23rd, and we have 30 days to respond. So there were 16 findings originally, and let's see here. 3 of them were fully corrected, 11 were partially corrected, and 2 were not corrected. So we had to address 13 of the findings. Okay, so what we have is we did a workshop last week where we went through page by page. We have multiple plans in place for each finding. We have a lot of resolutions, a lot of new policies, and a lot of new things that we need to implement. We did a very thorough workshop last week. So today we have a consent agenda. And what I'll do is I will read off each resolution title, and then the council members can let me know if they're pulling one of them out. Number 2 is going to be pulled out because that part was missing. So we definitely know the response to number 2, which is actually the first resolution. We're going to pull that out. So that is 2025-04. So I'll start at 2026-04. I'll start at 2026-05.
Change the number.
Yeah, on that other resolution that we did earlier, right? I think that said 2025.
It's scribbled.
2025-04, that's the one we're pulling out.
2026.
These should all say.
Yeah, they should all say 2026, yeah. Look, I'm delirious by this point. I'm ready for this to go away. All right, so we're starting at 2026-05, a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of White Springs, Florida, approving and adopting a bank reconciliation policy and procedures, providing for repeal of conflicting policies, providing for implementation, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. Next is resolution number 2026-06, a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of White Springs, Florida, establishing the legal level of budgetary control, requiring quarterly budget reviews, setting a $2,500 threshold for council approval of amendments, providing for repeal of conflicting policies, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. Resolution 2026-07, a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of White Springs, Florida, adopting a utility billing and collection policy, approving standardized forms, providing for repeal of conflicting policies, providing for implementation, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. Resolution number 2026-08, a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of White Springs, Florida, formally establishing segregation of duties for utility collections, bank deposits, and record keeping, adopting standardized daily forms, providing for repeal of conflicting policies, providing for implementation, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. Resolution number 2026-09, a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of White Springs, Florida, adopting a purchasing and procurement policy, providing for repeal of conflicting policies, providing for implementation, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. Resolution number 2026-10, a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of White Springs, Florida, adopting a revised personnel policy and procedures manual, providing for repeal of conflicting policies, providing for implementation, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. Resolution number 2026-11, a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of White Springs, Florida, approving and authorizing execution of an employment agreement for the fire chief, providing for incorporation of duties set forth in the town charter, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. And yes, we already have a contract, but we needed changes to the contract. Resolution number 2026-12, a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of White Springs, Florida, formally adopting a public records policy, approving standardized public records request log, request form, and cost estimate invoice form, providing for repeal of conflicting policies, providing for implementation, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. Resolution number 2026-13, a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of White Springs, Florida, adopting a codification and public access policy, directing completion of backlog codification, providing for future compliance with charter requirements, providing for repeal of conflicting policies, providing for implementation, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. Resolution number 2026-14, a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of White Springs, Florida, adopting a revised anti-fraud policy, providing for independent reporting channels, oversight and whistleblower protection, providing for repeal of conflicting policies, providing for implementation, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. Those are the resolutions under the consent agenda. Does anybody request any of these to be pulled out?
I just have a question. How is it going to affect the fire chief's contract if we start this now when he's under contract but needs to be under new contract?
We amend this contract.
He's going to need to review the new contract and sign a new contract. So the contract is basically the same. The only thing is it adds the duties that are listed out in the charter, and it adds in hours. How many hours? Minimum hours.
From when it started to when it's supposed to end?
There's no time on the prior contract.
Okay.
The prior contract is basically one of those, it can end, I think it was at any time. So there's no time period on the prior contract.
Okay, so we're still covered.
Mm-hmm.
And he's still covered.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Madam Mayor? Yes, ma'am. I move that we accept resolution 2026-05, 2026-06, 2026-07, 2026-08, 2026-09, 2026-10, 2026-11, 2026-12, 2026-13, and resolution 2026-14.
I second the motion.
Okay, has the motion is second that we, accept the resolution from 2026 through 2026-05 through 2026-014. Any discussion?
None.
All in favor? Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried 4-0.
Okay, so now we're back to resolution 2026-04. There was a discussion, and there needs to be a sentence added under compliance reporting. And I know I typed it in at some point, who knows where that document is. But I think this is what the language that we'll put under compliance reporting. The finance consultant shall provide a quarterly forecast at the quarterly budget review. It was called a perspective projection, but it looks like QuickBooks uses the word forecast in how they do their reporting. So the finance consultant shall provide a quarterly forecast at the quarterly budget review. That's it. So that sentence will be added under compliance reporting, which is on the second page of that policy. And that's the change that we would have. So with that change, resolution number 2026-04, a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of White Springs, Florida, approving and adopting a fund balance and working capital policy, providing for repeal of conflicting policies, providing for implementation by the town manager, providing for severability, providing an effective date.
I move to adopt resolution 2026-04 as amended.
I second it.
Okay, it was motion and second that we adopt 2026-04 as amended. Ready for the discussion?
None.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carried 4-0.
with that, I'll update that policy. We already have the letter draft. The council has already looked at the action plans for each audit finding. And maybe we do a quick motion that I'm authorized to forward the response to the Auditor General's office. I'm literally going to do that this evening. Be done with this.
Somebody make that
I
motion.
move that we give our attorney permission to forward these resolutions and responses to the Auditor General's office.
I second the motion.
Okay, it has been motion and seconded. We give the permission to our attorney to contact the general office for the
Submit the response.
Submission of report.
Yeah, that.
submit the report, response report. Ready? Any discussion?
So just to clarify, that's the 194-page document?
We're sending it all.
Okay.
Why not? Why not? Let them see the word. Yeah. And I would just add this, well, go ahead and do the vote, and then I have something just to add.
It has been motion and second. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carried 4-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
In looking at, so I wanted to see how other people did responses, and some of them are just a letter. We are definitely going overboard, but, none of the other people had to deal with what we had to deal with.
Correct.
I will say this in looking at other reports, there were, I think Greenville had like 30-something findings. And a lot of other places, even larger cities, had way more findings than White Springs. And me personally, for White Springs to have been made to feel like, we were the ugly stepchild of Florida, that was wrong. That was wrong for them to do that to White Springs and to treat White Springs that way. Because I guarantee you, all those other cities that had far more, talking about nearly twice as many as White Springs, will not be up for dissolution. So White Springs shouldn't have to hold its head down. Hold your head up. We're not the ugly stepchild of Florida, okay? So I just wanted that to be out there.
Thank you.
We did that.
You did a good job.
Then
All right, the next one is on the agenda is the RFP.
question from the
Question from Mr.
So,
Gansky.
this should take us 2 minutes, hopefully. We had 2 questions that were submitted. One was a request to know the audit fees for fiscal year 23 and 24. I got that information from Mr. Powell, so we wanted to talk about it. The second question was to ask if there is an option to perform the audit remotely. That is not something that we discussed as an audit committee, and that's not something we discussed as a town. So I want to get the council's opinion on whether or not we would accept a remote audit. So that means they're going to, instead of coming into the building and sitting here and working through everything with everybody, they'll like set up a conference call and they'll do it over virtual meeting software.
You asking me? It's done some places. I would say, I would probably prefer it be in person, given the history. And I think that I think everybody, the staff should meet these people and get to know them. And there's going to be greater opportunities for communication in person.
My recommendation would be that we don't accept remote, because we're one, not a very technologically savvy establishment, and things will just fall through the cracks if we do that. And I don't think we need a better reason than that.
Yeah, that's it.
You want
I'll be strongly object to it.
it. So there's
time being. Maybe years in the future, but now with the workload and the staff and the equipment we got, technological information we have, I just don't see us obligating ourselves to do that.
All right, so is everybody fine with me saying we will not be accepting remote audits?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, that was all that we needed for that.
Okay, the next on the agenda, comments from the council. Councilwoman McCall.
Okay, here's no struggle. I know that, we've been talking about the Rhythm and Feast Festival, and I have gotten several people that had questions concerning, well, I'll just read a few of them, because they're concerned about the town obligating itself for an unknown everything. What type of insurance does the town carry to cover liability? Who is the legal representative of the protection of the production company will partner with? What bank and credit card companies will process receipts and stuff? So if it's okay, I think I made copies of these. I want to just pass this down to the town manager to address.
You gave those out to us? This
Yeah,
one?
we have them. Okay, I got some questions and concerns with these questions. First of all, no one that this town has partnered with in previous history, whether it was Swanee Hardware, anybody else, did we have to go through this?
This is from more than one person.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
This is being to, if these people who have given this to you are citizens of White Springs, then I know for a fact they've never asked, let's go through some of these questions. Liz?
We don't have.
No, the citizens have a right. I don't, you brought it up, so I have a right to respond to it, because to me, this has been a little too pithy, too petty. You want a copy of their business license and a criminal background check, a resume on the production partner and staff.
I am passing on.
I'm responding to what you're passing on.
To the
Once
authorities.
Cheryl, I love you, but listen. Once you pass this on as a council member, this is coming from Councilwoman McCall, not the citizens. Because in my opinion, if a citizen is this concerned about something, when it has come up, they've not been in any meeting, any special event meeting, or anything else to bring these questions up. Now, I have, who would prepare, okay, our attorney, if there is going to be a memorandum of understanding, we already know she's going to do it. The entity themselves are the same ones that's videoing right there. Okay, the insurance, the town has the umbrella insurance. This is the same type of thing as the Velvet Festival and May Day. The same type of thing, Folk Festival. All of this stuff is the same. We've had people who have had events and things here before that the city has partnered with, and we have never had to ask them for their tax ID number, internal controls are in place, their bank and credit card companies, how will the tickets be sold? That is all something that will go through a meeting once we finish getting together what is going to be required. Will the material be family friendly? You got the paper, you see who the artist is, pull him up, then you will see. How much law enforcement would be needed? How would it be funded? Our working relationship with the county is very well, and it will be done in the same manner as May Day and the Zephyr Festival. Volunteers from each law enforcement agency, the same ones I had the reception for, will be the same ones that we will be reaching out to. A lot of this stuff is just somebody wants to be nosy. Why do you need a copy of their criminal background check? If we did that with every person and every agency that we applied for, some of the people that we work with on a monthly basis would not be qualified to work with us. Mind what y'all do, mind what y'all say. The insurance, we have the umbrella insurance for these specific issues of that. Why do you need copies of their insurance policy? Why do you need a list of their last 5 events and promotional material used for these events? Why do you need a resume of the artist that will be performing and a copy of any contracts executed and their promotional material? Our contract is not with the artist. Our contract is with Whitfield Construction. I mean, not construction, Whitfield's production. It's, I don't know, it's just, some of this stuff is just.
Some of these.
Okay, let Mr. Gardner.
Too much.
Let
Too
me,
much.
respond to some of this.
Well, in the minutes of the meeting we had, Mayor Williams made a motion to approve White Springs River and Feast Festival, except for the town splitting the cost. Splitting the cost will be reviewed later. Councilman Gander, second motion passed 3-0. The attorney, we have met with them, and there's not going to be any direct money splitting and that was mentioned in it. So that's a new question.
Okay, I know some of these questions were sent to Leslie, and she said, good question, not all of them. And then when I got more, I just got them like this week, and I have not been doing well physically, but that's why I submitted them to you.
Okay. And let the attorney speak on behalf of that.
So the initial idea of the town partnering with Whitfield as like a partner for a 50-50 split, the town can't do an arrangement like that. So that is not something that is happening where the town is a partner with Whitfield. Now, there are other things that we're looking at that we might be able to do, whether it be if we're able to assist in any way with any type of services that we can help provide. And, you know, anybody, of course, if they did want some proceeds to come to us, they could certainly do that voluntarily if they, because they are wanting to do this event for it to help the town.
Right.
And so we're still working through a lot of this, but we're not going to be partners where we're splitting things 50-50. That we're going to be almost like any other event where they are going to have event insurance, and we'll look at, you know, providing the facilities as far as the location. We're looking at the parking. This is going to be a family-friendly event. There will not be any alcohol sold there. I did ask them for some basic information for the due diligence. And I gave them the full list, but then I told them what I would need to see off that list. And a lot of that has to do with, of course, like just confirming their license and making sure that they have the documentation that they need, that they're an official corporation, all of those type of things. But otherwise, we want this event to be successful because it is, you know, the way the billboards are, you know, White Springs is heavily highlighted. And this artist his music is played on every cruise, at every wedding, at every gathering, every family reunion. You've heard it, like you may not know his name, you know the song. Because they play this song everywhere, every single where. He is an extremely well-known artist. And the whole song even has his name in it. So it's called the Cupid Shuffle, and he's Cupid. And so, and he's got a new album coming out, and so he's going to be promoting that. So it has the ability to be a wonderful event. But we are working through, looking at how many people would be coming, how many police, law enforcement would be needed, how many, portalettes will be needed. We're still trying to work through some of that. Needed to get this out of the way first. And then we can work on, if anything needs to be approved by the council, it would be at the November meeting. But right now we're talking with, Whitfield Productions and doing all of our due diligence. But the town isn't going to be out there like that where we're accepting like lawsuits or things like that.
We never even came up with what we would contribute or what we can contribute monetarily. That never even came up. We always said that that would come, we would discuss that later. Because we had to get the budget done.
So I just want to say that I too felt there was some kind of revenue sharing going on. And these are very reasonable questions if you're entering into a business relationship like that with somebody. Obviously, if we're just renting space to them, a lot of this is overkill. We don't need to know any of this. But I understand where this is all coming from. Like, I felt that was what was going on too. So if I understand this correctly, we do not have a memorandum of understanding out yet.
No, not yet. And we can't, like, they're a for-profit group. So for instance, you might see certain things like Jacksonville's Jazz Fest, right? Well, Jacksonville is hosting it completely. Jacksonville isn't partnering with a for-profit group. Doing something where we would partner would typically be another government entity or a nonprofit. So we can't enter into like a revenue sharing agreement at all. Like, that's completely out. Now, whether or not there were different scenarios that we were just tossing about, whether it's the town that is the host and then they are contracted to do the production, that was not necessarily the biggest one, but we just went through different scenarios. But mostly we're looking at them hosting an event and seeing how we as a town can help support the event, but we don't even know that yet. So we're still looking at numbers and things of that nature. We know we have the Christmas with Santa, is it a breakfast?
Yes.
That morning. So already the town is, doing something at that venue. But we're trying to see how we can support them, and to make sure that they do this event here and don't take it somewhere else.
Exactly.
And because this could become a really good annual event. Yeah.
Lee, you have anything?
No, I just wanted to remind everybody again, there's no checks being written to Whitfield a motion from the city.
For this.
Correct.
For this event.
Right.
You let them use a few barricades or something like this, I mean, hey, that's important to town and events, but as far as money going out, no. And I want everybody to understand that, please.
If we require any of this stuff from one group, we have to require it from anybody we deal with, period. We're gonna be fair across the board, and a lot of them are not gonna want it like a lot of this stuff that's in.
Especially trying to find out your business from the bank. That's a no-no for me. Okay, Mr. Gansky?
Just gonna throw it right on you like that, huh? So I want to remind everybody that on the 21st, we're going to have a comprehensive planning committee meeting where we're going to review the maps that we got from the consultant. 6 o'clock. I also, as of yesterday when I checked, we had 9 people download the RFP, 1 person watching it, and 1 person submitted questions. Hopefully that'll turn into a couple of bids in the RFP. And also, I was going to ask about the memorandum of understanding that's happened. I know this hasn't been a priority, Leslie, but I would like, if we can, for the next meeting, to get that ordinance noticed and put on to cancel the gaming license.
Yeah.
It was just an oversight, we didn't advertise it.
Well, I figured there was other priorities. Printed a phone book.
Yeah, yeah. But it's, it's already drafted, so we just got to get it noticed and then do the 2 hearings, the 2 readings.
And that's all I have.
Vice Mayor Williams?
Okay, first of all, we still have boards that are open, so if you know anybody who wants to get on special events, emergency planning, or charter review, ask them to please come and sign up for those. And also, We are still working on on plans for the celebration of our 140th year, which starts in December, but we're doing the 12-month. Everything will not be done at once. We have several fundraisers and things that will be coming through, some special events. Some are some things that I have talked to Mr. Gardner about. One in particular would be a pageant. We're working on the name of it. And that would be held in about 6 to 9 months. It takes about 9 months of planning for it. Accepting volunteers to help. But we have to remember that this community has to work together. We've been through a lot. We all have to be on one page, one band, one sound. Let's get White Springs what we need with positive publicity is, to kind of outdo all the negative that we've had over the past couple of years. But once again, remind people to join these committees, to come to the meetings, and to go to some of these county commissioner meetings also, especially the next one, so we can ask them, it's okay when we show up to ask about fire and rescue, but if you don't have citizens coming too, then, you put more pressure on them when you have bringing people with you. So I am asking the citizens to start coming to some of the county commissioners meetings and get with your county commissioner and ask them, as well as all of the commissioners, hey, White Springs got things that we need and we can't just wait on somebody else. That's it. Yep, that's it. Quick, short, sweet.
My turn. I just want everybody to remember that this is October, Breast Cancer Awareness, as well as domestic violence. I am one of those that had breast cancer. I am healed. This month I made it through 5 years. This month here is my 5 years of surviving. I am happy. So, the pills put a lot of weight on me. So I tell you, it was something. I'm happy. I'm excited. So, just remember those who went through the struggle with domestic violence and breast cancer. Men folks, please get checked. I went to an event Saturday, and some of the questions that the men was asking, it kind of blew my mind. So I didn't know that men folks go through a lot. So men, don't be scared to get checked. We women, we gonna take care of our bodies. But y'all men folks, please get checked. So.
I have a comment on the October, on the 18th, we're supposed to be having a flyover down at Osborne Park. They want all the citizens to come out, dress in as much pink as you can find. They're gonna do an aerial photograph for the town of White Springs supporting Breast Cancer Month. And that same day is the day that they're doing the pumpkin thing at Veterans Park. Did anybody notice the decorations that are out there?
What time is it?
The flyovers at 5:30 in the afternoon, and the pumpkin thing is from 8 to 4.
That's it?
Hey, so for that event on, what is it, December 20th?
Yeah.
I just think that, like y'all as a council, maybe on Monday, Tuesday, y'all just pick a night between now and then to have like a class and just teach people in the community how to do the Cupid Shuffle. That way.
We can definitely do that.
You know how to do it.
We know right
Okay.
That's all I got.
Are you going to
Can we have a motion?
I move that we adjourn this meeting.
Second motion?
Okay, here's a motion, second, that we adjourn the meeting. The time now is 9:22.